Hello and welcome. So in this video, we will be covering all of the basics of Python programming language. So now let's see what is Python. So Python is a popular programming language. So it is basically a programming language and it was created by a person called Van Rossum, Vanrussum, just so you know. And it was released in 1991. Yeah, it was released before Java. And now let's see what is it used for. So I guess Python is used for web development on the backend side. Of course, it is used for software development, it is used for mathematics, it is used for system scripting. So it is a general purpose programming language and it is a web programming language. It is also used for machine learning, artificial intelligence, and also for making web applications. So there are like numerous applications of Python all around the world. And now let's see what can Python do and why should we use Python. So Python, what can Python do? Python can be used on a server to create web applications. Python can be used alongside software to create workflows. Python can connect to database systems, as I've already said. We can use it, you can use it as a web framework as well. Python can be used to handle big data and perform complex mathematics and do machine learning and all of that stuff. And Python can also be used for rapid prototyping or for production ready software development. And why should we use Python? Well, there are like many more things written over here. Just like Python works on different platforms like Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry Pi, and many more operating systems. Python has a simple syntax similar to the English language, so that you will not have a very hard time to learn this whole thing. Python has a syntax that allows developers to write programs with fewer lines than some other programming languages. Just like Java has a lot of, if you want to write a hello world program, that is a basic program in any programming language, it would take about 5 lines in Java, and it would only take 1 line in Python to do that, print a statement. And Python runs on an interpreter, so that's a different thing. Normally programming languages like C++, Java have the compiler and it has an interpreter system, meaning that the code can be executed as soon as it is written. This means that prototyping can be very quick. And Python can be treated in a procedural way, an object-oriented way, or a functional way. So it is also object-oriented programming and it is a procedural programming, and there are like so many good things about Python. So now that we saw what is Python and what can it do, now let's just move forward and start coding in it, because I do not want to waste any time, because I just want to make this tutorial very much small and so that you all can grasp everything in just few minutes. So I'm just going to make it very much quick. So now in order to install Python, you just have to write Python over here and you just have to go to downloads and just press the download button. And you just have to press next. The process is pretty much self-explanatory. It's very much easy and simple. And also many PCs and Macs will have Python already installed. To check if you have Python installed on Windows PC, search the start button for Python. So let me open command prompt, cmd, and search write Python --version. So as you all can see, this basically says Python 3.7.6. That means my machine already has Python installed, so I do not have to install it again. And coming to the Linux or Mac, you just have to write the same command over here. I guess that would be the same thing. And now, soon after you have installed, I just want you all to install this VS Code. Yeah, Visual Studio Code. It is a text editor where we will be able to write the code. We can use it for Windows, Linux, or Mac. I just want you all to press download and press next. As I have already said, the process is pretty much self-explanatory. And now let's move forward and let's start coding. Now I have created a folder on my computer and I just created a new file by pressing this one. I've called this file as first.py. So this is my very first program on Python. So now let's start the whole tutorial by writing our very first program, that is hello world program. So now let me write print, and I just have to open the parenthesis and or brackets, and I have to put this double quotes that is beside the enter button, and you can write any text over here. You just have to write hello world. So this is the syntax for writing any kind of print statement. So if you want to print any kind of statement, so what is this print statement? You might be wondering, what is this print statement? Let me just quickly show you. This is the thing that you're seeing right over here, right? This is download Visual Studio. Ever wondered how did it even come on the screen over here? So if you all guys are from a web programming, if you all guys know HTML and CSS, that's okay. But leave that knowledge aside and just think it in this way. You might be wondering, how did this download Visual Studio came from? So while writing the code, someone wrote this code over here. Download Visual Studio code. So now, in order to output this thing inside a command prompt, you just have to press right click over here and go down here a little bit and run Python file in terminal. So as soon as you do that, as you all can see over here, it says hello world over here. It might take a little bit of time if you're doing this thing for the very first time, but as you all can see, it did not take a lot of time for me. Yeah, CLS will clear all of the commands, and now if I press run over here, it will say hello world. So now, as a challenge, I want you all to write the print statement again and write hello space your name. So I suppose you have done that. It was pretty much easy. We just have to write print over here and open the parenthesis and write the double quotes. Remember, if you're not writing this, it will show an error over here. This is basically the syntax of writing any print statement. And over here, let's write hello, my name is Saf, so I'm just gonna write Saf over here. And now let me press play, and I mean like the start button, run button. So it says hello Saf. So that's how it works. And so this is basically known as the syntax of writing Python code. So this is basically a very small code over here called as a print statement. So now let's move forward and let's learn about comment lines. So suppose if you are making a website, like facebook.com, and you were doing some kind of work, I mean like of course coding the whole website, and in between you had some work and you had to leave that code over here. Of course, I'll show you how the code looks like. So as you all can see, this is the website that I have made for a tutorial, Instagram website. So as you all can see, there are lots of code over here. And if I just leave it in between, I might forget what I have to add again. So in order to fix that, we have something called comment line. So let me just quickly show you that what is a comment line. So comment lines are very much interesting, and comment lines can be used to explain Python code. So suppose there was something that I wanted to explain or something like that, then I would write the hash symbol and write something like I have to add image functionality. So by writing this line of code, and after coming back again, I will remember that okay, I have to do this thing. There is, suppose you might forget or you might not remember what you have to write. So these are what these comment lines are used for. It's very much easy. Just have to write anything, and if you run, see, none of the code will change, or it basically won't matter. So after that, and if you are wondering, if you are wondering what happens if I remove this thing, so it will show me this error over here. It will tell me that on line 5, it will just show me this thing, name error is not defined. So I just have to remove this thing and press shift and this thing, and I can write anything that I want. This way, this is a comment line. So always remember, comment line starts with the hash symbol, and Python will ignore them. So the compiler, the interpreter will ignore them, and it will not run. So let me write CLS over here, and let me just close this thing so that you all can see this thing properly. Yeah, now this is what the comments were. Now let's look at variables. So what are variables? Variables are used to store information to be referenced and manipulated in a computer program. They also provide a way of labeling data with descriptive names. So our programs can be understood more clearly by the reader and ourselves. It is helpful to think of variables as containers that hold information. Their sole purpose is to label and store data in memory. This data can then be used throughout the program. Now let's see an example for it. So let me just quickly show you what is a variable. And so variable are basically containers for storing data, and those container might have some name. Suppose there is a thing called age over here, and over here let us suppose my age is 24. So now this is called as a variable. So if you have learned what are variables in high school, like find the value of x, find the value of y, if you all remember that from your high school or from your school on algebra classes or whatever, you might have this x value as 12, as y value as 12. So these are the variables. So this is name of the variable. This is the age is a variable in this case, and we are assigning a value to it. So over here, as you all can see, we are assigning this 24 value to this age. So this is the assignment operator. This is known as operator equal to. So we are assigning 24 to the age. Later on, I can just print this age over here, like print. And remember, whenever you are printing a variable, you do not have to write double quotes over here. You just have to write age and press save. As soon as you press save, I'll show you what happens. If you do not press save, you will have this white dot over here. As soon as you press save, that white dot will vanish. And now if I press this thing, it will just show me this thing over here, like 24 age, 24 hello Seth. So now as a challenge, I want you all to create a value called your age. Of course, the variable name should be your age, and the value assigned to it should be your age. So I suppose you have done that. It was very much simple, like your age. Suppose your age is 18 years, so it should be 18. And now let us just print this your age, and let's just print this thing. Boom, there we go. It says 18. And one more thing, after doing this thing, I just have to tell you that Python has a no command for declaring a variable. A variable is created the moment you first assign a value to it. So over here, the variable is being created. So if you try to print this thing before creating it, okay, before creating it, as you all can see, your age is created over here. It will just show me that using variable before assignment. So we are using this variable before assigning it. So that's just absurd, right? It does not have any value before assigning it. So now it will work. And variables do not need to be declared with any particular type, and can even change type after they have been set. So, you know, suppose if you want to store a name inside a variable, suppose if I want to write name as Saf over here, this is not the way I'm supposed to write. I have to wrap this thing inside double quotes. I have to write name is equal to Saf. So I have to wrap this up inside double quotes, such as we did for this print statement. It is very much simple and it's not confusing at all. I'll just write a comment line over here. Wrap any name or string. These are known as strings. These are known as strings, and these are known as numbers. So whatever value that is inside the double quotes is known as a string. So wrap any name or string inside a variable. You will need to wrap it with double quotes, quotation marks, or whatever you may call it. And remember, you can also write numbers inside it. Yeah, in this way, it is also acceptable. And now let's just perform few mathematical operations over here. So now what if I just write print, and if I write age plus, I'll write the plus symbol, I'll write the plus symbol over here, and I will write 21. So 24 plus 21 would be 45, I guess. So let me just press play over here, and as you all can see, this thing says 45. And as you all can see over here, this is how the mathematical operations will work. And now, as you all can see, this is a type of number, and this is a type of what do you call it, string. So now if I just try to add both of them, age plus name, it would throw me an error. Let's see what is the error. So it says unsupported operand type, int and string. So that means integer. These are known as integers or numbers or whatever you may call it, but I would prefer to call it as integers, numbers, because you are all beginners and I just do not want you all to get confused. So as you all can see, it says that this is a string and this is an integer. Of course, you cannot add both of them. So we have to convert this thing into a number first. So in order to convert this thing into a number, we have to write int, and we have to write double quotes, I mean the parenthesis, the brackets over here, and I have to write name. Now let's see what is the output. Let's see, there we go. As you all can see, now the output is 36, because now what we are doing over here by writing this line of code, we are converting this string into one number, of course. So now if I have something like Saf over here, this is not possible because this is not a number, right? So let's just try it out just for the sake of it. So we cannot, this literal is invalid because we cannot change this thing into a string. That's just absurd. So if it is a number, then it is possible to convert it into an integer. So this is what the integers are. And one more thing, there is one more type of data that we can store. We can also store floating point variables. So over here, as you all can see, this is just a 3 over here. What if I wanted to, okay, let me just show you a nice thing over here. Let's write 23, and now inside the print, what I will do, I will divide this thing, division symbol, this is the division symbol, and I will divide this thing by 2. So just guess the output over here. 23 divided by 2 is 11.5. It should be, the output should be in 11.5, right? Let's just remove all of these things so that I do not have any kind of confusion. So let's press play over here. As you all can see, the output is 11.5. Now you might be wondering, this is just, this is just integer. This does not have any kind of 0 values. Suppose this is a 22, and let's just press play, and it will give us the floating point variable. That means it will just give us a point values as well whenever we do any kind of division. So suppose if I just wanted to write plus and 2, suppose I want the output in floating point variable, how may I do that? So now over here, in order to do that, I will have to write the float, or you can write float over here and just write plus 2.0, and there we go. As you all can see, now the output is 24.0, and you can also do it in this way, 2.0, 24.0. Now as a challenge, I want you all to divide this thing. Let me just show you. Divide this thing, and let's press play. And as you all can see, this thing says 11.5. Now I want you all to convert it into a integer. That means I do not want this 0.5 over here. I just want you to round this up. So I suppose you have done that. It was very much simple. I just have to wrap this up inside int. So we are converting the type. So I just have to wrap this up inside the int, function, and there we go. It will just round up to the closest number, that is 11. So these are all the variables and what do you call it, the data types. These are known as the data types. So whatever is inside this double quotes is the string, and whatever is inside this floating point variables is called as a float, and whatever is normally do not have any kind of points, it is known as a integer. So I'll just write a comment line. This is known as an integer, and this is known as a string, and this is known as a float. So yeah, and whenever you are writing strings, you just have to wrap everything inside double quotes. Yeah, this is 20 minutes up, and after that, now let's learn a little bit about variable names. So over here we are just naming this thing as age, right? So variable can have a short name like x and y, or more descriptive name just like age, car name. And the rules for creating a variable must start with a letter or an underscore character. So it can start with a underscore age, it can start with a letter as a first letter, but it cannot start with a number. Of course, there may be numbers inside it, this thing, but it cannot start with a number. So it cannot start with a number. As soon as I write this thing, it is just showing me that it is not a valid line. So that is what you have to take care of it. And variable can only contain alphanumeric characters, that is A to Z, 0 to 9, and underscore. And variable names are case sensitive. That means this is age, right? Let me just show you. This is age, right? And this is also age. So both of them are different variables, because this is a capital age, this is small letter age, lowercase age. So this is what this is what are the rules for variables. And now let's move to the second part. Now that we spoke about all of these things, let me make this thing as a comment line, and let me just speak about strings. So this is a string, if you all know. Strings in Python are surrounded with either single quotation marks or double quotation marks. So if we are doing this thing, right, we are writing double quotation marks, right? So we can also wrap this up inside single quotation mark. So now you can display a string literal with a print function, of course. And now let's see how to assign a string to a variable. Assigning a string to a variable is done with a variable name followed by an equal sign and the string. So let's say A is equal to hello. And now let's print this hello, A. So now let's press play, and it says hello over here. And now let's see how to assign a multi-line string. Suppose there are like multi-line strings over here. So as you all can see, this thing is not responding properly. So we have to wrap this up by writing two double quotes in this way, 3 double quotes. So inside this thing, we can write anything that you want. So now if I just press print, so it will just print all of the code over here. Or else you can use 3 single quotes as well. 1, 2, 3. I always use 3 single quotes because that is much more understandable and very much easy. So now there is also something called string as arrays. So let me just show you an example over here. So now let us suppose this is hello. Okay, hello. So what if I wanted to only print this h from this variable? So in order to do that, I just have to know what is the position of that number, of that letter inside the string. So remember, in every programming language, as far as I know, in Java or any programming language, the starting position of any element or anything will start from 0. So it will start from 0. So h is 0, and it is E is 1, L is 2, and the second L is 3, and O is 4. So now as a challenge, I want you all to figure out what is the tell me what is the number for L, first L. Yeah, you have guessed it right, that's 2. So now in order to only print H over here inside our hello, I just have to write the name of the variable, and after that I have to write square brackets. And if I wanted to print the H, I just have to write the position name, that is 0. So now let's print this and let's see the output. So as you all can see, the output says H. Yeah, right? So this is what it is used for. Now as a challenge, I want you all to print H. I just want you all to print O. So I suppose you have done that. I have to write 4 over here. It will start from 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now as you all can see, this thing is this. And now if I wanted to find the length of the string, I have to write len. This is an inbuilt function inside Python. So over here, I just have to pass the name of the string. So now it will just give me the length of the string. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has the length of 5. So the last variable would be length minus 1. So the last variable, in order to access the last variable, we have to write len minus 1. And these are all the strings, and these are all the numerics and all of that stuff. So yeah. So now that we saw primitive data types and many of these things, now let's see what are lists. So list is a very, very important thing that everyone must know about. So list, okay, let me just show you why should we use string. So suppose there are like 100 students inside a class, and every person has some kind of roll number or some kind of name. So now over here, I have to write, if I want to store all of the names of the students in a variable, how will I do that? So I'll have to write student underscore 1 is equals to Saif, and I have to write student underscore 2 is equals to Khan, and so on and so forth. I have to write 100 times. So instead of doing that, there is something called list. So what I can do over here, I will write my students over here and write equal to, and after that I will write the square brackets. So this is the syntax for creating a list, and inside this thing I'll just basically write the names of the students, like Muhammad, and I have to write a comma to separate a value from other value, and if I want to write Saif, and if I want to write Khan. Now as a challenge, I want you all to guess. I just want you all to guess. Of course you all do not know, but I just want you all to guess what is the position of this in this list. So yeah, you have guessed it right. It is 1, because as I have previously said just moments ago, in every programming language, as far as I know, in every programming language, every element inside any list or array will start from the 0. So this will be 0 and this will be 1. So now let us suppose if I want to print the Saif over here. So all I have to do is to just write print over here, just like we did in string. I have to write my students and write square bracket, and I just have to pass in the number. So over here 0, 1. So let us see what is the output over here. So there we go. As you all can see, the output is Saif. Now as a challenge, I want you to create a list of a recipe to make an omelette. So I suppose you have done that. It was easy and simple. Recipe is equals to egg and some spices, yeah, and more spices. Yeah, and over here, let us suppose if I want to print the recipe egg over here inside the recipe list. So I just have to write recipe double quotes and 0. So I'll just give the output as egg over here. So now if I just want to go through all of the list over here, or if I want to find all of the list inside it, I mean like the length of the list, I can do so by writing similarly, just like we did for the string len, and over here I just have to write recipe and it will give me the length of this thing. The length of this thing is 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So this is what the list is. It's very much simple. It's not confusing. I'm not gonna go into the details and all of that stuff because this is just the basics of Python, and I do not want to waste a lot of time over here. And now let's move to the conditions over here. Well, before moving to that, there are many other data types like tuples, and there are sets, there are dictionaries. I do not want to get that. I do not want to get into that because I've just covered list, right? So all of them are pretty much simple. So once you know how to work with list and what is a list, then you will know what are those things. You can just, I'll show you at the end of the video. I'll just show you a website where you can learn all of that by your own self. So now let's see Python if else over here. So now over here, Python supports the usual logical conditions from mathematics. So now if you want to, okay, if there is something called age and this is 18 over here. Suppose if you want to check, if you want to allow the user, if you want to only allow the user if the user is above 18, how will you do that? Normally, what is the mathematical equation for comparing a variable? Yeah, how would you, I mean, like, how would you write greater than or less than? Yeah, you have guessed it right. We have greater than or less than symbol. Yeah, so let's just check. Let us suppose if I want to check if a user is, if this age is above 18. So how will I do that? So I can do so by writing if, and after writing that age, the name of the variable, and I will check if age is above, if age is greater than 18. If that is the case, and after every conditional statements or looping statements, we have to write the colon. And as soon as you write the colon, as soon as you press enter, you will have this indentation over here. So what are indentations? So indentations are basically, it is just like it basically refers to space at the beginning of a code line, where in other programming language the indentation in code is for readability. The indentation in Python is very, very much important, because I'll show you an example over here. Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. So whatever is inside this if condition, this is known as if condition, will be inside this block of code. So now I will write print you are allowed for driving. And now let us just press print. Let's see what happens. Well, there is no output over here. Why? We wrote this code over here. Why did it not print over there? Why did we do something wrong? No, we did not do it. We did not did anything wrong. We just checked over here if the age is greater than 18. So in this case, the age is not greater than 18. So suppose if I make it 19 and let's press play, run, it will tell us that you are allowed for driving. Yeah. So now if I just remove the indentation, the spaces, and if I just write 18 over here and press play over here, so let's see what is the output. It will just tell me that indentation error, expected an indented block. So it is telling me that expected an indented block, because soon after if condition or any conditions in Python, you have to write a simple tab over here, tab space over here. Tab is beside the Q letter on my keyboard. So yeah, this is the print. And now if I wanted to write the else condition for it, there is something called else over here, and I have to write the same thing, the colon over here. Remember, after every condition in Python, conditions or perhaps loops or anything like that, we have to write this colon over here. I guess that is called as a colon, but I'm not sure. But let us suppose this is called as a colon. So yeah, we have to write this thing as a colon, and I have to write print over here, and I will tell that you are not allowed for driving. Yeah, in my country, 18 is the minimum age for getting a driving license. Yeah. So now, as you all can see, now let's just press play. Remember, we are 17 years old, and now let's press play. Let's see what is the output. You are not allowed for driving. And now let us change and write 18. You are still not allowed for driving. Let us suppose if the person is 21 years old and you are allowed for driving. So this is what conditions are used. And suppose if I wanted to wrap one more condition inside the else condition, I have to write L. Okay, let me just remove everything so that you all can, I'll just leave it in this way, and I'll create one more variable over here, and I will write this thing as x is equals to 10, 12, and I'll check if x is less than 10, and I will write print x is less than 10. And if I wanted to check if x is greater than x is equal to 12, I have to write L if. So inside the else statement, this is known as else statement. So inside the else statement, if I wanted to put one more condition, I have to write elif. So it's like a short form, elif, elif over here. We have to write x is equal to. So in order to compare it, we have to write double equal to. Normally we write 1 equal to. So this is wrong. This is over here we are by writing this line of code, we are assigning 10 to the x. We need to compare it. So now if I want to compare it, I have to write double equal to. So I'll just write a comment line over here so that you all can understand. Double equal to is used for comparing. So over here I have to write a colon, and after that let's just print and write x is equal to 12. Simple and easy. Now let's press play. It says you are allowed for driving for this one, and x is equal to 12. Suppose if I wanted to write one more condition, I'll have to write else if and x is greater than 12. I will write print x is greater than 12. Simple and easy. Of course, in this case, x is not greater than 12. Well, there are like many more mathematical equations. By the end of this video, I'll just show you a website so that you all can go there and look at all of the examples, all of the conditional statements. And that's it for this conditions. And now let's move for the loops. So let's just see what are loops first. In any programming language, a loop is a programming structure that repeats a sequence of instructions until a specific condition is met. Programmers use loops to cycle through values, add sums of numbers, repeat functions, and many other things. Loops are supported by all modern programming languages such as Python and like many more things. So now in Python there are two primitive loop commands, while loops and the for loop. Now let's see what is a while loop. With the while loop, we can execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. Suppose I create a variable called I, and that is equal to 1, and I will write while I is less than 6, I'll write colon. Remember, after every loop, as I previously said, you have to remember that. Repeat after me. After every condition and after every loop, we have to write the colon, and after that we have to put the indentation. And now I will print I'm just writing this line of code. I'll write while I is less than 6. Let's just print print this number, and after every condition, I mean like after every iteration, I will write I is equals to I plus 1. So I'm just adding 1 to the existing value of I. So let's see what will be the output over here. Let's press play. Yeah, as you all can see, the output is this thing. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So why did it do that? Okay, let's just do, instead of writing I, I'll write SAF over here. Let's see what happens. So it says SAF, 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 SAF 5 times. How is that even possible? As I have said, while loop, we can execute a set of statements. We can execute set of statements as long as a condition is true. As long as this condition was true, the below lines of codes will be executed again and again and again until this condition is met. So in the very first condition, the very first loop, as soon as we press the play button, first I is equal to 1. Yeah, it's 1 over here, right? So it will check if 1 is less than 6. Of course, 1 is less than 6. So it will just go down because this condition is a true condition. It will go down over here. It will print this thing. And after printing this thing, we are incrementing the value of I from 1. So now we are, it's just like, I'll just write a comment line so that you all can understand. It's just like 1 is equals to 1 plus 1, because over here I contains value 1. Now I equal to, now the value of I would be 2 now. So now it would be 2, and it will again check. It will just come back. It will come back and check I 2 is less than 6. So of course it is 2 is less than 6, and similarly it will do that as soon as I becomes 6. I becomes 6 over here. As soon as I becomes 6 over here, it will just check 6 is less than 6. No, 6 is not less than 6. 6 is equal to 6. So now it will just return false. That means this condition is false. This condition isn't true. So now it will come out of the loop. Similarly, that is what a loop is. So, and these are the for loops. And now let's go to the these are the while loops. Now let's go to the for loops. So this is another type of loop in Python. So now there are students over here, and of course there are 3 students like Saf, and in a list Khan, and there is Shali over here, and yeah. And over here, if I want to loop through all of these things, so I can write for over here for let's write student, or you can just name anything. For name in, remember you can write anything over here, name in students. For name in students, I'll write print name. Let's see what it does. Okay, let me just remove the above code so that you all can understand. Let me comment this whole code over here. So as soon as I do that, I will write print name over here, and yeah. So as you all can see, let me just press play again. So as you all can see, it says Saif, Khan and Rishali. So what is it doing over here? So what it is doing over here is that it is going inside the students list, and we are each element of this list will come inside this name. So inside the first iteration, like inside the first step, the name will have the value of Saf. So now it will print the value of Saf. So thus Saf. And now it will move forward. After printing this one, it will move forward and it will print this Khan over here. And now after that, it will move forward and it will print Rushali over here. And after that, it will check that does it have any more elements over here. And of course over here we do not have any more elements. So similarly, we will be doing this thing over here. Yeah, and before wrapping this up, we can loop through strings as well, and we can loop through tuples and many more things. So now I just want to show you a range function. There's something called range function. To loop through a set of code a specified number of times, we can use a range function. Suppose if I wanted to loop through, if I wanted to print saf like 6-7 times, I can do so by writing for, you can just write anything over here, for I in range of 0 to 6, and I will write print over here, and I will write saf. So now as soon as I write that and press play, so it will just print saf for, let us see, 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5, 6 times, because we are starting it from 0. If I start it from 1, let's see what would be the output. It would be 5 times. Now you are wondering, why did it not print for the 6th time? So the thing about this is that it will leave the last element that is written over here. So if I want it to be printed 6 times, I have to write 7. So the last number minus 1 time would be the number of these things, outputs. So now over here it would print 6 times. I hope that you understand this thing. So these are all things about Python, and there is one more last topic left, that is functions. After this, we will wrap this whole basics of Python over here. So as you all can see over here, let me just, yeah, over here. Now let's speak what is a function. A function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. You can pass data known as parameters into functions. A function can return data as a result. So let's see how to create a function. So suppose, let me just put this thing as a comment line over here. And over here, if I wanted to create function, yeah, and I have to write def define function. Let's give a name of function as name. And over here, I have to write the parenthesis after any name that you want. You can put any name over here. You can just put anything that you want. You can even put asdf as well. I'm just gonna put name over here, and over here I have to write, remember, as I previously said, after every loop, after every function, after every condition in Python, we have to write this colon, and after that we also have to write this thing, indentation, and after that let us write print over here, and let's write sat, and let's write print over here, and let's say Khan. Let's say print over here, and let's say what are you doing? So now if I just wanted to print all of these 3 lines again and again, how will I do that? I can just do so by writing name, name, name. See what would be the output. I'm just calling this function over here. I'm just calling this guy over here, and whatever is inside this guy, this function, will be executed. So this function will be executed 3 times because I'm calling it 3 times. So as you all can see, let me just press play. Yeah, as you all can see, this thing was executed 3 times. 1, 1, 2, and the last time as 3. And yeah, that's it for this functions. And there is one more last thing, very much last thing left, and I'll just quickly do that. Suppose, what if I wanted the user to enter some value? I can do so by writing this line of code. I can write, let us suppose I want to store whatever the user will enter inside the name, and I will have to write input over here, and I have to write please enter your name, and I have to wrap this up inside str because I want to put the name as a string. And let's just print this name. Let's see what would be the output. Please enter your name. I will write SAIF. So as you all can see, the output would be this one. Yeah, let me just quickly do this thing, and let me just press play, and please enter your name. Suppose if I write the name as Saif Khan, this thing. Yeah. Suppose if I wanted to write some kind of data with my name. Suppose if I wanted to write the name that you have entered is okay. So over here, if I just wanted to write something and embed a variable inside it, I have to write f string over here, f over here before the double quotation marks, and I just have to write two flower brackets, and I have to write the name of the variable. And in our case, the name of the variable is name. So please enter your name. I'll write Saif Khan. So the name that you have entered is Saif Khan. So now, as a challenge, I want you all to do this thing again by writing your own name. I just want you to remove this thing and do it again. I suppose you have done that. We just have to write name is equals to input, and I will write please enter your name. And in order for this thing to be a string, we have to wrap this whole input into a string. It is string by default, but it is very much it is a very good thing to do this thing. And let's just print f your name is name. Let's press play. Please enter your name, Saif Khan. So it says your name is Saif Khan. Yeah. Now, I just want you all to change this thing to int, and I just want you all to ask the name of the age of the user. So we can do so by writing age is equals to int over here, and inside the int I'll write input, and please enter your age. And over here I will write enter your name is, and your age is age. Please enter your name. Let's enter my name as Saif Khan. Please enter your age. Let's enter my age is 24, and it says your name is Saif Khan and your age is 24. So these are all of the things that we have learned in this lesson today. I just wanted to finish everything inside an hour, and I have managed to do that. So we have learned many things, like we have learned what is Python, what are variables, what are data types, what are castings, what are strings, what are operators, what are lists, what are if-else conditions, what are conditional statements, what are loops, what are functions. So we basically covered all of the basics inside this lesson. So thank you for watching this thing, and if you like this whole video, please give a like or give a review or whatever you may like it. So congratulations, and see you all guys in the next video. Till then, goodbye and take care.